President Obama claims he's going to raise $1 billion for his re-election. Herman Cain turns out over 15,000 people for his announcement. Priceless. There are some things money can buy. For everything else, there's Herman Cain.
That's the latest video ad from the Herman Cain presidential campaign. Very clever. You're priceless.
My ideas are priceless.
Okay. Now, I hate to point this out to you, but one of the last video ads you ran, you misspelled the word. You're an entrepreneur.
Well, you know,
misspelled entrepreneur.
We were making sure you were paying attention to detail.
Well, I wasn't, but one of my producers caught that. All right.
Well, thank you, John. We will correct that.
Now, your questions for Herman Cain. First, you spent 5 years on the board of the Fed in Kansas City. You were chairman at one point. This is from Facebook. Zachary Bennett says, do you think it's okay that a bunch of bankers run printing presses and are allowed to manipulate interest rates?
I don't think it's okay at all. The problem with...
Well, you were doing it, right?
No, I wasn't, because back in the 90s, we didn't run the printing presses because we weren't trying to support the Treasury Department to service $14 trillion in debt. The other problem with the Fed is that we don't need to end the Fed. We need to fix the Fed. They are trying to hit two targets with one arrow. I believe the answer is for Congress to exercise its authority and narrow their mission back to monetary
So don't
stability.
give them more arrows.
No, don't give them more arrows.
Don't give these 10 men more power over the economy.
Go back and say you have one objective, and that is to stabilize the dollar with monetary policy. They did that wonderfully up until the last 5 or 6 years ago.
Why not get rid of the Fed the way Ron Paul wants?
Well, that's like getting rid of the air traffic control system. We need some method and system of control. Rather than get rid of it, I would rather fix it and make it better to do what it was intended to do.
If we got rid of air traffic control, the planes would crash into each other?
Yes, they would. They would crash into one another. And I tell you what, I wouldn't fly on a plane without the air traffic control.
Wouldn't the airlines work it out with their own private sector system?
They might work it out, but there'll be too many crashes before they finally figure it out. So why get rid of it totally? Why don't we fix it? I believe in fixing things that can be fixed.
Yes, sir.
Strictly in terms of business experience, what do you think your #1 advantage over Mitt Romney is in translating business experience into turning the country around?
Many of the business experiences that Governor Romney has had have been with large mega business entities, putting companies back together, breaking up big companies. Most of my business experience has been with small to middle-sized businesses. When you're running a franchise organization, it's really a collection of small businesses. It might
well,
sound
the United
like big,
States is pretty big.
It's pretty big. It is pretty big. But the fact that I understand the small business sector better because of my experience with Burger King Godfathers, the National Restaurant Association, that's where over 65% of the new jobs are created. So I have a much better sensitivity to the small to medium-sized business sector, which is the engine of this economy.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
If you became a president of the United States of America, how would you deal with this regime of Fidel Castro in Cuba, 90 miles away from our shores?
The way I would deal with the regime of Castro is I would continue some of the sanctions that we already have. I would probably look for ways to improve those sanctions. I would keep the pressure on, not take the pressure off.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cain, good evening. Lately, we've been losing friends faster than my hair. Okay? I mean, we were getting whacked around. We whacked Israel around. We whacked Great Britain around. We insulted just about every one of our allies that we had. Can you think that you can restore our respect in the world where we stand?
I know I can restore the respect in the world that we have, starting with, in the case of Britain, bringing that bust of Winston Churchill back to the White House.
Thank you, sir.
Secondly, Israel has been a consistent friend of the United States of America. I would never throw any of our friends under the bus the way this president has done.
Thank you. I know you want to ask more questions, but we're about out of time.
Yes.
Herman Cain, before you go, you said earlier if you weren't ticked off that you might sing for us here. So would you do that?
A few bars. Believe there's a reason reason to be. Believe you can make time stand still, and know from the moment you try, if you believe, you know you will.
Well, you have quite a voice. I thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
When we come back, my take on Herman Cain.
Thank you. Thank you all. You all were great.
You're great.